13 easy makeup tips for those over 50. And the number one, the first tip. The first tip is to always wear primer on your eyes. So when we get a little bit older, our eyelids change colors, and it's just because the skin becomes very thin, and so the colors underneath actually start to come through. So if you look at my eyelids, you can see purples and reds and blues. So if you wear an eye primer, it acts as a buffer between those colors and your eyeshadow. And there are different kind of eye primers that you can wear. Some actually have a color to them, so that right away you start out with a nice blank palette. But if you're going for a more natural look, I say try one of the clear ones. So this one is by Urban Decay. It's the eyeshadow primer potion, and I'll put all the links in the description after I'm finished with the live. And also, the reason that you probably don't want to use your regular primer on your eyelids is, unless you use an oil control primer, is that first of all, you want to have an eye primer that absorbs the oils. So if you do have oily skin and you have an oil controlling primer, then feel free to try it on your lids. Don't be surprised if it doesn't work perfectly though. And then number 2 on the list of 13 easy makeup tips for over 50s is to wear a primer on your face. And as you can see, when I get really close, especially, I have a bunch of pores on my nose, especially on my nose and in this area. And that's really where most of us are going to get the majority of our pores, because when we're out in the sun, that's the first thing that the sun hits, and the sun can make your pores actually larger. So I am going to use a primer. It's called Thank Me Later. It's a blurring primer, and it has an SPF in it. Has a little bit of color, but I still think you could use this no matter what your skin tone. It just adds a tiny bit of brightness. And as pale as I am, I could just about wear this on its own. And I apply this up under my eyes as well. And normally primers do very well up under the eyes, just a regular face primer. And you can get fancy and you can get a specific primer for under your eyes. I have never really found one that was great. So where are you watching from today? I'm actually in North Alabama in the United States. And we're lucky today. It's only going to be about 90 degrees here. So you see how it just gave me a soft blurring effect? And that is what I wanted to achieve. And I like to carry that down my jaw a little bit. 1, because it's got a little SPF in it. And 2, because when I go to blend my makeup down here, then everything will glide on nicely. All right, so we've got our face primed and we've been through the first 2. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is foundation. And I'm going to say something that a lot of people are going to think is really absurd, but I don't think it matters so much what kind of foundation you're wearing so much, as long as you're not going for a full coverage if you're over 50. Now, these are just my ideas, okay? If you like a full coverage, you do your thing. However, I think that you can adapt most foundations to your skin. And I think it's more important what you're doing to your skin before you put your makeup on than when you actually put your foundation on. So I'm going to use a very inexpensive one. This one is the Maybelline 30 Hour, and it's not the perfect color for me, but I'm going to make it work just so I don't have to buy another one in the right color. So I'm just going to use a little bit on the back of my hand, just a tiny. And so this is tip number 3. You can use a full coverage foundation, but you don't have to make it full coverage. I like to take my brush and then just work it through the brush to get it on there evenly. And then start in the middle of the face, because that's where you're going to need most of your coverage. And then work it outward. And with this foundation, you want to work quickly because it is a waterproof, sweat-proof formula. So anytime you're working with waterproof and sweat-proof, it means it's going to set itself really, really fast. And then just kind of hitting the center of the face and blending it out. And then once I've got it tapped in where I want, I'm going to grab my sponge, which I've got over here on the side, and it's sitting in some cool water. And what I've done is I've just gotten it wet and then squeezed out all of the water. And then when I go in to blend, do a final blend, it'll give me a really flawless look. Now that's just a little tiny bit. That was the smallest amount. I don't even think it was pea-sized. And I'm going to look at it up super close in my magnification mirror that I've got over here. And I can always add a little bit more, like on my nose where it seems to want to come off. And I just pat it on there and then just let it sit. So, and then let it sit for just a minute. I'll just give it a final blend, and that's done. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. So you're in Tennessee. Yay. I'm right on the Tennessee-Alabama line. I'm in Ardmore, which is as far north as you can get on 65. All right, so we're doing 13 easy tips for makeup for women over 50. And the next one is going to be really, really simple. These are all really simple, and you probably do most of these and don't even think about it. The next one is just to make sure you're lining your lips, because we start getting all those little lines. Like I used to smoke, and you know, it's hard to get to 55 without having any lines on your face at all, no matter how big or small. So just line your lips. And I have a little acne scar here, so I make sure I do a really good job there. And instead of going all the way out to the corner, I'm going to come in slightly. And the reason that I do that is because the older I get, if I bring my lipstick or my lip liner all the way out to the corners of my mouth where things want to crease up, what'll happen is I'll get this long sort of scowl look on my face when I'm resting my face. So here's me resting my face. Right? So my mouth is downturned. So if I come in a little bit here, then it won't be as bad. I'm not going to overline or anything. But again, when I come in on the bottom, same thing. Start a little closer. This could have been sharper. That would have been better. Start on the inside. And those lip liners are really just waxy. They're real waxy, and they act as a border for your lipstick. Usually short, feathery strokes are going to be better than just one long, harsh look. One long, harsh stroke. And I start to pull it in right about there. Now, as a little added bonus, what you can do if you are trying to get a really, really very natural look, after you get your lip liner on there, you can take a brush or just your finger and just kind of give it a little smudge. Just a very slight smudge. And what that does is it makes it look more like your natural lip line rather than a harsh lip liner look. And then my lips are really, really dry. So before I put anything on them, I'm going to use lip conditioner. And it doesn't really matter if you just wear a chapstick or a really fancy lip plumper. Today I'm just going to use my one by Pharmacy. It's kind of like a super chapstick. Because the more I talk, the more I was really getting dry there. And I'm going to let that work for a minute. And then I'm going to apply some lip color. Although I'm going fairly naturally today, so I'm not going to apply very much. Then we're going to go for a cheap color. I said cheap color. A cheap color. Lord have mercy. I need help today. All right, on to the cheek color. I sort of have a love affair with cream cheek colors at the moment, but not always. So today I'm going to use a really easy, fast one. This is just a cheek color by Palladio, and you just go across the cheekbones. Easy peasy. And then I keep it handy in case I'm going to need it again. And then I'm just going to grab my blush brush and I'm going to stipple it in. And that is a really easy way of saying you just kind of bounce it on your face. You just kind of bounce it on your face and it does a really pretty blending job. And mine came in a little too far. That's okay. We don't use a lot of rules in makeup anymore. But a general kind of thing to be aware of is maybe not to bring your brush any closer than there to the center of your face, because you want the center of your face to be more bright and highlighted. And so if you bring your color in too far, then it kind of disrupts that. But again, you do you. You do what makes you happy. It blends really, really nicely, and when I look at it up close, it just looks like skin. Okay, it doesn't look like cakey makeup. The last thing I want is to look cakey. So I also like my powder blushes, but on the powder blushes I noticed that you have to be careful not to get too much of it on there, because when we smile, like there's all these wrinkles in this area here. So with the powder blushes, it's easier to get that all caked up and thick looking. But I'm not against powder blushes at all. I love them. And I kind of work it up to my temple a little bit. And I'll take whatever's left and just bring it up on the forehead. Okay. And sometimes just distribute whatever's there. So, all right, let's see what's next on my list. I made a list because I'm like a bird brain today. So then we're going to fill in the brows. And I don't have a certain order to do everything in, but I do tend to do my under eye area last, because anything that falls below my eyes needs to be cleaned up last. So I'm like, we'll just do that all at the same time. I'm going to use my, let's see, what am I going to use for brows? Tell me what you'd rather see. Would you rather see a pencil look or a stencil? Would you rather see a penciled in look or a stenciled in look? Anybody have any preference? No preference on a stencil or a pencil. It's probably good since I can't. Oh, here's my stencil. I think I'll do, if I don't hear from anybody, I'm just going to do a stencil. Pencil. Okay, the first pencil wins. So I am going to use a waterproof, smudge-proof brow pencil. And this one has got the big one on one end and then the little micro on the other. So, hello. Yes, pencil. We're going with pencil. All right. And So you can see I have hardly any brows. And so, I'm going to make a beginning mark so that I know where my eyebrow really should start on both sides. And they're different because my nose is crooked. So when I look straight ahead, when I look straight ahead, thank you. It actually looks straight to me, but it's really not. Okay. Stencil is easy. Stencil is easy, but pencil called it. So we're going to do the most simple pencil. And what I do for a simple pencil is that it goes straight from there through the middle of where my arch would be, just a straight line. And then I come down. And then I place a line up here. And then I fill it in. And I can use the bigger side to fill in the bigger areas. And then I'll fix this part down here. And I'll fix that better when I'm finished. All right, and then I'm going to go to the other one. The pencil, I don't think it has the color on it. It's, let's see, this is Waterproof Smudge Proof #1. And it is by iMethod Beauty. And I'll put a link to this as well. I've gotten to the point where I really want all of my eyebrow stuff especially to be waterproof and smudge proof. Not just because it's hot, but even in the winter time, I don't want things smudging, and so just try to get it all waterproof and smudge proof, and that way I don't have to change things from summer to winter. And you may not have sparse brows like I do. Pencil, try that for me, thank you. Yes, yes, absolutely. You may not have sparse eyebrows like I do. You may just need a little bit of filling in. Or maybe your eyebrows are turning gray and you want to darken them a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with gray eyebrows, there's not. But if they get so light that they're not really framing your eyes and you want your eyes to pop, then a little color will do a lot for them. And these are definitely not the same, but I'm going to do the majority of my penciling, and then I'll fix it with a little concealer and a Q-tip after a while. All right. I'm not even going to brush through that, I don't think. Maybe I will. I'm going to brush through it. Give it a little brush through. So what are you doing today? Are you at home? Are you at work? Where are you? Here's my little. And I'm just going to do a light brush, because if I do anything too much, it's just going to lighten it too much. But it is nice to go ahead and brush through because it distributes the color better. And then I like to grab my Q-tips and a little micellar water. You're at work at lunch. Cool. Thanks for watching at lunch. Yeah. And then I like these waterproof makeup remover micellar waters because they're inexpensive and they remove makeup very, very easily. San Francisco, hi. I'm just kind of clean up. Now, on a day-to-day basis, I'm probably just going to clean up my outer edge with the micellar water. Because that's going to be enough. Fix anything here that I don't like. Just try to get everything sort of angled the same sort of way. It doesn't have to be perfect because people's eyebrows are not perfectly symmetrical anyway. So I just sort of want to have mine not looking too confusing. And then we're done with the micellar water. And then for eyeshadow, especially if you're just updating your look or you haven't been in makeup for a while or you're brand new to makeup, eyeshadow, I say just keep it really, really simple. I'm going to use my cream shadows on top. And I've got this big thing, okay? And I'm going to grab this one that's kind of like a pinky. It's kind of like a pinky color. And my blending brush. I need an extra hand with all these glasses. Blending brush. And then I just put it all over for my eye shape. I just put it all over. And I think it's really important to be able to, wow, that's really pinky. I think it's really important to be able to master a one lid color because it's so versatile and it's great for an everyday look. So a lot of times, you know, with makeup, if you just use the kiss method, then it's so much easier. And the kiss method is just keep it simple, silly. Or keep it simple, stupid. I would venture to say this is the first time I've used this color. And I've got green eyes, so I'm going to be able to pull it off. But I wasn't expecting it to be that pink. I don't believe I've tried this one yet. These are self-setting, and I like them. And of course, you know, we always have that one eye that is harder to keep things on. All right, so comment from Susan. My eyebrows are in the same shape as yours. They're very thin and tattooed as well, and they need to be redone. So thank you for everything you're doing. I really appreciate it more than I can express. Oh, thank you, Susan. I appreciate you too. I feel the same way when you know, I do something that can help somebody else. I mean, it helps me and it helps you, so. So I do love my eyebrow stamps as well. And then once I get that color on there, for me, since I have hooded eyes, I just need to relax my eyes. And then once they're relaxed, if almost all of the color disappears, I can go back in and add a little higher. Just add it a little higher so that when I actually do relax my face, you can still see that my eyes are kind of framed by that color. So my color comes up a lot higher than many other people's would. So Susan is at home and she was just about to get in the shower and get ready to go out shopping. Cool. Awesome. Well, I hope you have a great shopping day. So I'm going shopping too, but I'm just going to Costco. It's time for groceries. Time for my huge grocery haul. I kind of live out in the boonies, so everything is about 30 minutes for me. And 30 minutes away, a 30-minute drive pretty much, any place I want to go shopping. So once I've got that to where it just appears like I've got some eyeshadow on when I relax my eyes, then that's probably where I'm generally going to stop. And then I can use this under too, but I think it's going to be a little bit too much. And since it's a pink, I think I'm going to see if I can find a gray in this set to go with it, because pinks and grays tend to go really nicely together. And I do have a silvery gray, so we'll see how this looks. And I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of that right on the top of my lid. Just right there. And that way it doesn't just look totally out of place when I put it on the bottom. And I keep forgetting these things have a brush on the bottom as well, so instead of using my fingers, I could use that. So just a little kind of a peekaboo right there. Just a little bit. And then I'm just gonna, actually, I think this is gonna be too harsh for under my eyes. So my other tip on my list is to use, instead of using an eyeliner under your eyes, try using an eyeshadow instead, because it's a lot softer. So I'm gonna do that under my eyes with just a little bitty smudgy brush. And I'm gonna grab a light gray color. This is my very dirty palette, but I love this palette because it's all nude matte colors, and you can see I've used it quite a bit. So, and I always kind of try out the color on the back of my hand before I take it to my face, and that way I'm not in for a big surprise. So if you just take a little bit under, and you don't have to bring it in as far as I did, but if you just bring a little bit under, and it gives you that definition, and then just blend it into the top. And as I said, the last thing I do is my under eye, so we're going to wait on that. Clean that all up at the last minute, and that's really where the magic happens. That's where everything starts to look really good. You guys, I can't believe it's Tuesday. I feel like it's Friday already. Is anybody else off kilter like that? And I tend to keep my color on the outside. I have been known to bring it inside. It really just depends. But if you feel like it drags your eye down, then just don't do it. And try it right up next to your lash line. That's where you want it to be. So, okay. And then if you are just dying to get one of those eyeliners, if you're just dying to use eyeliner because you have to, then I say you do it like this. Try it like this anyway. So here's my eyeliner. I love these eyeliner pens. I want one with a really fine point. And then instead of gliding it, I take it and do a little stamping motions. Little stamping motion. And that way, I'm not dragging it and possibly messing up because I've got all those textures on my lid. So little, and you can do it with a tip. Just give it a little stamp. Little stamp. And I use my eyelashes to guide it on there. So I kind of start at my lash and pull it toward my lid. Lash and pull it toward my lid. And get it up next to your lash line really close, especially if you have a hooded eye, because it's not going to show up anyway. And then I'll do the same on the other. And it's up to you if you want to bring it all the way in or not. That's just your personal preference. So, put it on my lashes. Give it my little stamp. And I have totally lost track of what number I'm on for tips. Costco's your Disneyland. And Susan says, yep, you're doing that too. Absolutely. All right, so super, super light And I have never done wings. They just are not, A, they're not my style, and B, they're going to look really aging and bad on me. So then I say for us aging girls, I think lashes are important. They don't have to be big lashes. They can just be little lashes. And I think the first thing that I find the most important for me is to curl my lashes and give it a bounce curl several times. And then I go to the other eye. And then I'll try it once more. Because I have really, really, really flat lashes. You also have hooded eyes. Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hooded eyes are totally different than some of the other eye shapes for putting on makeup, and the rules are definitely out there. Much, much different. I'm going to try a new mascara today. I got this one on Amazon. My eyelash curler is actually, let's see, this one I think I got from Pharmacy, but I'm not totally sure. It does not even say it on there. How cheap is that? I will look. I'll look in my Amazon store, though, and see, because I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon because I live out in the boonies, and it's so much easier, and I've got to clean my glasses. They're so dirty. But I'll put it in the, I'll put a link for you. So I'm trying out this Cabaret. Has anybody ever tried this mascara? This one here. This is the waterproof volume mascara. And the reason I bought this was because of the brush. The brush is very small, and I think that it's going to be a lot easier to use. But I love that this says expiration best before 4/2/23. So I thought that was really cool. I wish more cosmetics would do that. You know, put that on there for us. So here's the wand. See how it's really tiny? So I'm going to see if I can just grab a couple of lashes on the bottom without making too much of a mess. All right. That worked nicely. Same on the other side. Yeah, I live out in the boonies, so if I can't have it delivered for makeup, I'm probably not going to get it. I made that sound really sad, didn't I? Oh, poor me. I'm just not going to be able to get it. And then I've learned that if you put your mascara on your tips first, instead of starting at the root, that it works a little better. Now, I don't know about this one. So, and I kind of let it get a little tacky on the roots. And I have a fan on in the background. You can probably hear it, so well, it's very black. I like that. I'm going to go down by my roots. It's going to work out those kinks. And this is interesting. I feel like I'm getting my hair in there and everything else. So I think I over curled and it kind of made things different. And it's new mascara, so every mascara is going to act differently. But I'll have to probably try this a couple more times to see if I'm really in love with it. And I think that's fair. I think when you get a new makeup, you know, I know a lot of times it's really, really easy to just buy something and then try it one time and you're like, I don't like that. And then just put it in the drawer or wherever, you know, we put things that we don't really care for. But I've learned that if you actually try them 3 times, try it 3 times, and if you still just don't like it or can't use it, then, you know, donate it somewhere. you probably know somebody you can give it to that they'll try it and they might like it. If not, you've just recycled it. But try giving your makeup another try. So this eye is actually looking better than the other one already. It's much blacker than I thought it would be. So I like a really black mascara. And the pink eyeshadow is definitely making it appear more black. So I think, I don't know. I think it's too soon to tell. I may try it again and absolutely love it and not overcurl my lashes so much. I can see where if you just kept applying it, it could get a little clumpy, but not bad. Not compared to some other brands I've used. It's interesting. All right. I'm not ruling it out. Not ruling it out. And it is waterproof, so where I live, and especially in the summertime, that's a great thing. Because it's super, super humid. Are you, those of you who are not in the Tennessee Valley, are you in humid climates, or is it dry? Is it super dry for you? And then usually the last thing I do is I do my eyes and then I use a little setting spray or setting powder. Usually I don't use the setting powder for much because it's drying. And excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. And I'm just going to use my e.l.f. concealer. Excuse me. Oh, I hate that. Oh my gosh, it's allergy season in the worst way here. That was so gross, sorry. But I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, allergies killing me. I'm going to use a little bit of my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And I think I'm just going to use, I'm hoping this is clean. Just going to use my tool there. Oh yeah, I bet it is hot in California. I lived in San Jose when I was a kid and I loved it. But that's been a long time ago. So I've got some of this. And this frog has got to go away. Thank you. So I've just got some of that e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And I'm going to take a little bit of this. Now, if you want a good bargain, the e.l.f. Concealers are huge. They have that huge doe foot. And then I'm just going to mix these together. And you could do this with your face cream as well. Really going to mix it together well. And it's going to take some of the pigment out of there. Yes, the e.l.f. primer is great. It really is. And it's for all skin tones, but you want the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And I'll put the link in the description later on. But that one is good for all skin types, unless you're super, super oily. I love it though. Let me show you what it looks like. Just now I haven't done anything under my eyes yet. Let me show you if I just put it under my eyes. It gives an instant brightening effect. Just kind of tap it under. And it's got squalene in it, or squalane. I'm not sure how you say it. I live in the sticks. I don't know how you say anything anymore. And look at this eye compared to this eye. I mean, it instantly brightens. And there are so many times when I don't even wear any concealer at all because of that. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. So I'm going to go one step further because I like to clean this up. And I want to show you how I do this if you haven't seen it before. I'm a super messy makeup person, as you should already know by now. So when I have this overhang, right? And so when I put on my makeup, it gets right there if I'm not careful. And then it kind of drags my eye down. So I like to take the stuff that I mixed up and just kind of tap it right there. And I'm going to go in an upward direction, right? So when I have my eye up, it looks like this. Just tap it under there a little bit. Swoop it up into my temple, And then I just use my finger to blend, and I'm going to get a little lifted look there. So I don't like a straight harsh line because I feel like it makes me look older, and I have all these little things stuck on my face. So I like to just tap it over, just a little bit over where the shadow is, and then it really gives a nice blended effect, and it's very, very subtle and soft looking compared to like when, you know, I was 20 and I might have wanted a straight line. So, okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just, you don't have to relax your eye once you know where your lines are. But mine is kind of like a scooped out look almost. Just kind of blend it into there. Well, I appreciate you hanging out on your lunch hour and before you go shopping and taking time out of your day. I'm having a lot of fun here with you on YouTube. And I've decided I'm not going anywhere. It's going to have to chase me off. And then I'm going to take that same little bit that's on my brush and I'm just going to use it here for a little brightening. So I do kind of have that bluish color. And I just pat it in place with my big old pinky until I get it looking the way I want. I could have used a nice concealer brush too. That would have worked a little bit easier, not in the way as much as my finger. And since it's mixed with that e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, it seems to stick really well. It doesn't crease up very badly, and it stays in place as long as you're not one to touch your face all the time. And that's it. So, and I think the most important part of our makeup, especially as we get older, is about our eyes. Because that's where things want to go badly wrong. Like really badly. And I'm trying not to highlight this puffy area down here so much. And part of that is the lighting. My lighting, if I have my lights at the wrong area, and when I turn my face, you can see shadows on my face. Some people think I have these terrible bags, and I really do have bags, but they're not terrible. But because of the way that the lighting hits me, if I have them up high, then it causes shadows on my face. And if I have them down low, then it could cause shadows up here. So the lighting is a very interesting thing to try and get used to. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this, the putty primer, and I'm just going to use it as a little highlighting too. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, I have had days where, you know, I don't really want to wear makeup. I have plenty of days like that. But if I just want to kind of look like a better version of me, let's just say that, I'll just use the putty primer on my face. That's it. Just roll with that alone. But you can add a little brightening. And you have to be careful that it doesn't take off your makeup, which it is. It's taking off my makeup. But if you just use it lightly, you can add some brightness where you want. And here I've got some issues here because I used my, I used that stuff on my lips before I put my lip color on. That's all right. Better to have a moment like that before you leave your mirror than when you're out and you have no control over it. And a lot of times when I go out, I'll just use a lip gloss because it is so much easier. And then I love this Milani Make It Last. It's the 30-hour sunscreen setting spray. If you're not familiar with setting sprays, these are wonderful. In the old days, we used powders to hold everything in place. I like these better because they're not as drying to me. So you just spray it in a X shape. Don't breathe for a minute. And then you've got a little extra sunscreen to protect yourself, because even when you're in the car, you know, you can get sun damage. So I like to always hit the sides of my face, a little extra, because that's where the sun's going to come in. And get a little carried away, hit my ears. So I will go ahead and list everything that I used in the video for you in the description in about an hour. So maybe when everybody gets off work, I'll have it done. And thanks for hanging out with me again. And I hope you enjoyed the tips for making makeup easier. I hope you gained something from the video, even if it was just laughing at me doing my silly stuff. So have a great day. Now I got to find the button that turns this off. No, that's not it. That's not it. It's one of these buttons. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. So much fun. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.